नन्दनन्दनं श्रीनन्दनन्दनाष्टकं पठेत् यश्रद्धयान्वित तरेद् भावाब्धिं तुष्टरं लभेत् तद् अङ्घ्रियुग्मकम्. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot pranams.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Meenakshi Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Purnandini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam. So welcome to you in the ICF platform, and please start, Mataji, over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. The Kirtan was done. So should we do Kirtan or start off the class, Mataji?
Mataji, you can start the class as per you, as you wish, Mataji.
Okay. We'll just do a quick Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Gurudev ki Jai, Nitai Gaur, Sitanath Parmanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Radha Madhav is one of the kirtans we are to sing in Adhik Mas, so I took this opportunity to sing it. So, okay. So let's start welcoming all of you for this daily Shrimad Bhagvatam class, especially in this Adhik Mas. It's a real wonderful opportunity to discuss a few points with all of you. Start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkrapatam Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Gnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Nina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Before I start, I would like to just say in between, if I am having a little cold, if there has to be this thing, and if I stop for a few minutes, please bear with me, because you don't know, if it's a cough, then it can go a little this thing. So I thought I'll just keep you. Okay, so Remembrance of Lord Krishna, Canto 3, Chapter 2. We are doing from text 15 to 18 today. I'll just read the translation, or somebody can read actually. One second. I will share. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Can somebody just read the translation, please, of this text 14? Yeah,
Hare
Shanti
Krishna.
Mataji. Yeah, Shanti Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
The damsels of Vraja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchange of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And a part of it, there's one beautiful thing that Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport. Lord Krishna finally admitted his defeat before the transcendental affection of gopis and declared that he was unable to repay them for their unalloyed affection. So, but then, there is a saying, it says, Vrindavan paritijya padam ekam nagachati. Krishna doesn't step out of Vrindavana. Then what is it that we are looking at, his pastimes outside of Vrindavana? It is actually said it is Vasudev Krishna. The original Krishna never leaves Vrindavana. He is always with the Vrajavasis, right? And Bhauma Vrindavana, like we saw through 2-3 days back about the Vrindavana, pastimes of Vrindavana in the material world. In the Bhauma Vrindavana, he had to leave Vrindavana to establish dharma. If he had not gone out of Vrindavana, then Bhagavad Gita would have not been spoken. The very aspect of his descent was to protect the devotees and to re-establish dharma. So that is how the Lord descends for various reasons. So that was a quick prelude. So we will now just see the actual shlokas, right? One second. Yeah. Vasudha Mataji, please read the shloka 15.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Swasantarupeishwaritiraiः swarupaiः abhyadhyamanesvnukampitatma paravaresho mahadam sayukto hi ajopi jato bhagavan yatagnihi.
Thank you, Mataji. Divya Mataji. Yeah. Translation, please. Divya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn, but when there is a friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the Mahat Tattva. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna. The unborn is born, right? Why? We see in 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Why does the Lord descend? What does 4.8 say? Anybody wants to try?
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati
That is
bharata.
4.7. Yeah.
Pavitrana
Sadhunam.
It is not pavitra, it is paritra. Parit, it is not pavitra. Okay, just a small correction. Okay, yeah, paritranaya sadhuna. Now, Vinashaya Chadushkratam, he comes to protect the devotees and to kill the miscreants and re-establish dharma. Now, why is it that he has to come, right? Now, recently, His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, who had come to the ICC temple, he was giving a very wonderful, a higher perspective of Lord Krishna's descent. He says, Paritranaya sadhunam. Sadhus, what is there to protect them? They're already sadhus, right? They're already protected because they are following dharma, they're already protected. Then Vinashaicha Dushkrutam. He doesn't have to come, Krishna, he has to just think this person has to be killed. So that also. Then acharyas are there to re-establish dharma. So any guesses why Krishna descended? Why does he come? Of course, see, one thing we have to understand, the Lord, when he descends, he has several, he does several things, like multitasking is coming from Krishna. So we initially know these are the reasons, but anybody wants to guess why? What is the
Hare
other?
Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Hare
I'll
Krishna.
try, Mataji, to give pleasure to the devotees, Mataji, like for them to get that reciprocation of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, you're almost there.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Please.
To enjoy the video rasa the Lord has
Yeah,
descended.
exactly. To enjoy the reciprocation, to give. So to enjoy that reciprocation, for jivas to enjoy the reciprocation with the Lord, then we have to be on the same platform. Like he is supreme pure, then we being so impure, then what is it that he has to give to enjoy the same this thing? He has to give love of Godhead, right? So that is what is the descent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended to give which no other avatara gave, right? To give love of Godhead, and that too so freely. Have we heard in any other pastimes, Varaha, Kurma, Narsimha, that the Lord is giving out love of? In fact, even in Krishna avatara, he is, Dharma Samstapa and all these things. But only in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's this thing, avatara, he is giving this love of Godhead. Of course, in Krishna avatara also, he does it in more grosser way, in the sense, he's showing the loving relationships with the Vrajavasis, with his various pastimes, for us to understand or at least comprehend how relishable these pastimes are, how relishable these loving relationships are, and for us to take a cue from that to go back to Godhead. Also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about how only the devotees are, not disturbed. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.149 says, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakale Ashanta. When we are all here talking about love of Godhead and reciprocation of transcendental mellows with Krishna in whatever capacity, in whatever ways the Jivatma, either in Madhurya Ras, in Vatsalya Ras, in Dhasya, Sakya, whatever, right? In whatever rasa, right? All these things, the devotee is never disturbed with anything, because the true devotee doesn't want anything. Nishkama Bhakta doesn't want anything from the Lord, save that he wants the Lord to be happy. That's it. But then the others, the Bhukti, Mukti and Siddhi Kamis, the Karmis, they want something. The Mukti, they want liberation. And the Siddhi, the Yogis also want. They want a lot of fan following, or they are very proud of the Siddhis that they have acquired and many things. So that is another aspect that Srila Prabhupada brings out here, and talks about friction between Vasudeva, Kamsa and Ugrasena. That is why the Lord appears. The example given here, electricity is available everywhere, but by the friction it is perceived. By friction, that's how, even though the Lord is everywhere, he is all pervading, only when he descends, right? Only when he descends, we actually does these pastimes. That is when we are able to perceive all these aspects. Because out of sight, out of mind kind of mentality we are in. So even now, we may think now he is not there. How is it that? But in Kali Yuga, what is the form he has taken in Kali Yuga, the most benevolent form. Other after Chaitanya
Nama
Mahaprabhu,
Sankirtan.
Nama Sankirtan, the name is not different from Krishna, right? So that is what we have to understand. And then also Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada talks about how the devotees are, even though they are troubled by apparently non-devotional or non-devotional aspect. Like it was not that Durvas Muni was not a devotee. It was not that Hiranyakashipu was not a devotee. But in that aspect, he was made to play that role of harassing Prahalada or Durvas Muni, trying to kill Amrish Maharaja and other things. So to show how personal the Lord is, right? How personal the Lord is. He himself, even though we just now saw he didn't have to come, but then he comes just to show how personal the Lord is. So that is also the other aspect that we can see here, right? So we will see the next shloka. Yeah, Suma Mataji can read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you, Mataji. Mam khedayati etadajasya janma vidambanam yat vasudeva gehe vraje cha vasori bhayadiva swayam puradvyavatsed yat ananta viryah. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Sudha Mataji, thank you, Mataji. Sudha Mataji can please read the
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When I think of Lord Krishna, how he was born in the prison house of Vasudeva, although he is unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Vraja and lived there incognito out of fear of the enemy, and how, although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Mathura in fear. All these bewildering incidents give me distress. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. So you see a lot of contradictory things. The unborn is born. Uddhava is lamenting Krishna's departure. Then he's Atmarama. Then why does he feel hungry? Why does he want to drink milk from Yashoda? Then he's fear personified. I mean, fear is afraid of him. Then he fears. He is afraid of Yashoda. You know. Now all this looks contradictory, right? How is it? Is it contradictory? No, it is not contradictory, because for devotees nothing ever is anything contradictory for the Lord, because the Lord is absolute in all respects, right? And he apparently does these things in the contradictory way only to, you know, enjoy that rasa, enjoy that relationship with the devotees. And then this we can understand this aspect of contradictory not being contradicting only when we hear through in the parampara. Like Srila Prabhupada has made it so very so very easy. Like Acharya say, Srila Prabhupada has made the halwa, he's put it on the plate, he has given a spoon. All we have to do is eat it. Okay, that is how simple Srila Prabhupada has made such esoteric things. I mean, such things which we would not, because we have it so easily, we don't realize what is it that we have got. And it is only because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy that we understand this aspect of Madhurya Rasa, and especially the Madhurya Rasa. Because in the other Sampradayas, because that topic is contradictory, or the topic about Srimati Radharani may look, not very in terms of the social etiquette in the present, in the material world, they don't get into talking about that. But then Srila Prabhupada also did not talk very elaborately. But then when we do read that, we can understand to some extent that it is not to be understood in the way we understand things on the material platform, right? And that is only because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy through Srila Prabhupada, right? And then if we observe any of the Leelas or any avatars, actually, any of the avatars, if we observe, it is just to, exchange that loving relationship with the devotees, right? And then we see, if you think a bit, right? All of us, what is it that we all hanker for? Now it's a trend of, it's a trend of organic food, right? Organic food, A2 milk, and then clean water. And then if people who want to, rich people, rich and famous people, they go to places where it is really very serene and clean and it is not polluted, right? All of us are hankering for this, right? Everybody talks of any food you eat is polluted and things like that. So where is this coming from? Actually, it is coming from Krishna. His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu, in one of the lecture, he mentions all this is available only in Goloka or in the spiritual world. It is not available here. With all this, with all the pure things materially, when we want to eat, breathe fresh air, and then drink good water and have good food and all that. And what is it that we hanker for? We hanker for love unmotivated. Now, if I love somebody, or if somebody loves me, that person, or we want them to love us, or we should love them without any motivation, without any what to say, any rider to it. I did this, so I want you to do this to me, like without any such things. Do we all agree to this aspect, and deep rootedly that we are wanting this? How many of you think this is?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
To an extent, now we have changed, Mataji, like not like before.
Change now, because after realizing how it is business and not love. When you want to do something and in return expect something, it is definitely not loving relationship, but it is business. After we have realized that, we are in the process of getting there. At least we have started. First thing is, at least we became aware of it, and the next step is we are trying to get to that. So that's a very good note on our spiritual progress, right? So that is what Krishna has come to teach us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to teach us that we do anything without any expectation. Karmanyavadika. The whole aspect of spirituality, 12th chapter, Krishna says, if you see, 12th chapter from the 8th shloka, if you can't do this, do this. If you can't do this, do this. And then he says, why they are so dear to me? Because they do it without expecting any returns. And then without expecting any returns, right? So our whole endeavor in this aspect of Krishna consciousness has to be in this. At least we are aware and we are keeping a step in that. We pray to Guru and Gauranga that we are able to achieve it. It's very difficult. It is very, very difficult. How many of you think it is easy to do something and not to expect? It's very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, but Mataji, when it sets in your mind,
yeah,
and when you're focused, yes, then it's not that difficult, Mataji. It was difficult earlier. As you keep on practicing, yeah, then with that understanding.
Yes. Because why that, and what understanding that ultimately, irrespective of whom I depend on, my dependence on Krishna is what has to be there. Because ultimately, if that person has to help me also, okay, Krishna has to give him that intelligence to help me. So it is, I would rather depend on Krishna to do it. I mean, like, not to help me or anything, just to depend on Krishna, and then he comes out with the best of whatever is this thing, right?
Yes, Mataji, so true.
Yeah. So that is where, that is why devotees are Ateva Shanta. They are peaceful. Why? Because their dependence is on the super powerful Krishna, not on any person who who has with limited, intelligence or strength or whatever. So our common goal, with all this, what should be our common goal? Shrimad Bhagavatam says, Samsiddhi Haritoshanam. If I have to, if we, even in the mundane world, even in the material world, if I have to get out, work or anything out of somebody, I have to please that person, isn't it? So same way, Krishna, and it is actually so much more easier to please Krishna. Okay, we may offer, we may do this. All he says is chant and remember me. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha, he says. You are fighting, okay, you fight. You doing your work, you do. But remember me. See, even that is so difficult in Kali Yuga. One small cold, and then yesterday our whole day was like topsy-turvy. Even chanting became such a this thing, a difficult task to do. Even chanting, right? Just to say it, Rama, Krishna, people have so much of resistance. After Krishna so mercifully has made it so easy in Kali Yuga. He just says, chant my name. That's it. I always chant my name. Right? So wherever we are, whatever work we do, yat karosi, yat dasnasi, yat juhosi dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpana. So the moment we follow this, then there is no way that we deviate from either dharma, or we are not going to singe anybody, either them or us, and then we are in the path of spiritual progress in a much quicker way. Okay, so that bottom line, we should have some siddhi haritoshanam, and then always remember Krishna, right? So Sindhu Mataji, please read shloka 17. Sindhu Mataji, are you able to read shloka 17? Okay, Prashanti Mataji, please read shloka 17.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Dunoti chit smarato mamet yadaha pada vivanda pitro tatambakam sadhuru shankitanam prasiditam no kruta nishkrutinam. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Listening to the shloka itself, is, and Mataji is reading it so nicely. Yeah, Sindhu Mataji, are you there? Do you want to read the translation, please? Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Pranam to you.
Hare Krishna.
Translation, Mataji.
Yes, translation, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Bol. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for their, Krishna and Balram's, inability to serve their feet due to being away from home because of great fear of Kamsa. He said, "O mother, O father, please excuse us for this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain at heart."
Okay. Very touching, actually. The Lord, trying to apologize to Vasudeva and Devaki, right? Should he actually, another apparently contradictory, should he actually apologize, right? Is any time Krishna wrong in his actions? Do we think Krishna can do any action that is wrong?
No, ma'am. No, Mataji. Like, it is for us to teach, like, how we should be.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, see, if an ordinary parent, he has, ordinary parents have several responsibilities to accomplish. And as a small child, all of us have gone through this, right? As a child, there are at times we wonder, why is my parent behaving like this? Apparently, it looks like, they are our enemies rather than our parent. And then when we become parents, especially, we realize why our parents behave the way they behave. And it was not, even though it looked like they were our enemies, they were ultimately doing it for our good, right? How many of you agree to this?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
Mataji.
Yeah. So imagine an ordinary parent with one or two or whatever children and small family has so many responsibilities and apparently looks like that. Imagine the Lord, right? He is Akhila Koti Brahmanda Nayaka. And then so he will definitely, there'll be things which looks contradictory. In his actions, it looks contradictory for people who want to look at it as contradiction, right? But then if you hear it from the acharyas, we really understand why Krishna does yad yad acharati shreshtas, like Mataji very rightly said. Then another interesting point Srila Prabhupada brings out here is the acharyas say Krishna gives each of us test as per our capability to face it. What is the test like? But then we must understand Krishna says he gives the test and then he says I am the ability. We should never forget that. I am the ability in man to face that test. Now, why I'm saying this, imagine there's a just born baby, right? And then he's born in the prison and Vasudeva, and then the father gets an instruction to take him to Vrindavana, Goloka. It is raining heavily. He is bound in shackles, and then he is fearful of Kamsa, and then he has no iota of idea of how he's going to take him there. Then that happens. All the guards sleep. We all know the story. And then the pastime rather, Krishna being taken in the basket, and then he has to go through Yamuna. And how Yamuna is, how Yamuna is flooding. Like she's in ecstasy seeing Krishna is going through. And then you have a 1,000-headed snake on top of the baby, and it is pouring cats and dogs. Like cats and dogs is a small word. Can you imagine when a child is just born? If our child is just born, and if we have such a situation, no, at least it would be difficult for me to. So here Acharya says, if I am in 10th standard, Krishna gives an exam of 10th standard person. Vasudeva was, eternally the father of Krishna. So he gave him this test to see how much he loves Krishna. Imagine after all that they had to go through, seeing the children being killed, and then Krishna had to be taken away. It is unimaginable, the pain of taking the child away, just one baby away, and that too knowing it is Krishna, right? So that is what Srila Prabhupada is bringing out here, that test is given as per our capacity, or as per our whatever we can take. So and to top it, Krishna falls off into Yamuna. Then he goes mad. Vasudeva goes mad. Where is my Krishna? Where is my child? Where is my child? Right? So what is this? And then, of course, ultimately he is taken shelter of Krishna. That's how he's able to pass the test. So whatever test we are getting into in our process of bhakti, or even in mundane life, right? Whether we are surrendered to Krishna, surrendered 10%, 1%, depending on Krishna, he will take us through the flooded waters of Yamuna. Even if he's a just born baby, everything. It is only how much we surrender, right? And then, of course, the main point of this purport of this shloka is to say respecting one parents. The Lord himself, the Lord himself is saying this to his parents, that he could not serve them, which is giving the Lord a lot of pain. And then there is one beautiful picture, if any of you have seen in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada has given this picture, has described this picture, and one of the Matajis has painted this. You can see Krishna holding Vasudeva's slipper on his head and he's walking. Can you imagine humility, the amount of humility Krishna is showing here, right? And even when he drinks, he bathes Narada's feet, lotus feet, he bathes and he puts the Charanamrita on his head and then he drinks. Of course, he is personified everything, humility personified everything. So why is he showing this? Why is he doing this? Yadyadacharati shreshtas, right? Whatever he says, he is sitting and doing Sandhyavanna. What he has to do? Sandhyavanna is meditating about the Lord Suryanarayana in the sun god, right? Why is he doing this? He is doing this to show us what? That how we have to respect our elders, how we have to respect any elders, parents, acharyas, right? That is a part of following of dharma, right? And doing that, in fact, earlier times, every day morning, that was the ritual. You pray first to bow down to parents and then to the God, all these things. Hopefully there is a revival of all that. Because it really helps one to become humble, to be humble, which is the only criteria to be successful in spirituality. So the Lord is showing in various ways how to respect, because this other Acharya was saying, love comes only when there is respect. Can you imagine, can we love somebody when we don't respect somebody? I don't think so. Can we? Is it possible to love somebody if we don't respect somebody?
No, we won't.
Yeah. So it goes, of course, love goes beyond respect also. That is also there. But then unless you acknowledge that person in whatever way, acknowledge that person, that is respect, right? So Krishna is showing all this for us to guide us how we have to go in the path of spirituality, right? Yeah, so we are in the last shloka of today.
Mataji, may I read, Mataji? Meenakshi here. I think you called out, Mataji. Sorry, there was a lot of noise here. I couldn't hear you.
No problem, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Please read, Mataji.
Ova amushyangri sarojarenum vismurthimishit puman vijigran yo visphurat bhruvitapena bhume bhraram kritantena tirashchakara. Dandavata pranams, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Krishnamurti Prabhu, can please read the translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Who, after smelling the dust of his lotus feet, even once, could ever forget it? Simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who were burdening the earth.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Ram Krishna Prabhu, there is a small purport. We can read the purport.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Krishna cannot be expected. Lord Krishna cannot be accepted as one of the human beings, even though he played the role of the obedient son. His actions were so extraordinary that by the simple raising of his eyebrows, he could deliver death blows to those who were burdening the earth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, so once we have tasted the sweetness of Krishna, sweetness of spirituality, sweetness of transcendental relationships, doing Vaishnava Seva, all this, once we have tasted this, how could we ever forget it, is what is the import of this shloka. And then also, why Krishna should not be accepted as any of us, ordinary human being. Even though some of his actions or some of his pastimes look very ordinary, like any ordinary being, right? Krishna says in the 9th chapter, right? Avijananti mamuda manusham dharmashya param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Mudha, he calls them, if anybody thinks I am an ordinary human being, right? And here it is saying, actions extraordinary that by simple raising of his eyebrows, he could deliver death blows to those who were burdening the earth, right? Even somebody like Hiranyakashipu, could control the demigods just by raising his eyebrows, right? Like if he wanted this kind of temperature, this much wind to blow, that much rain, he had to just raise his eyebrows, and then the demigods understood that this is what he wants. If somebody like Hiranyakashipu can have so much of power, then we can imagine Krishna, how much of power he has. Right? And his power, of course, is definitely seen in Govardhan Leela or even Kaliya Mardana, all these pastimes. Forget Krishna. I mean, I'm not saying forget Krishna. I mean, we don't even have to go up to Krishna. We can see Krishna's pure devotees, right? Srila Prabhupada. I mean, unimaginable, right? At the age of 70, translating more than 50 books. And translating how? Can you see? Word to word translation. And then translation and then purport. And how many such books? Spiritual books, not even any ordinary kind of thing. And then traveling in 12 years, 14 times, traveling around the globe, making devotees, establishing temples, establishing farm communities. At the age between 70 and 80, 69, 70, right? And 80. If Krishna can empower his pure devotees so much, then you see, somebody can empower with all these powers if they have more power than that, right? If in the class, the teacher can teach the students only if she knows a little more than what the students know, right? If I have to take a mundane example. So Krishna can empower so many such pure devotees, then imagine the amount of power, amount of strength, amount of compassion that Krishna has. What is these pure devotees showing us actually? They are giving us a window. Them being compassion, they are giving us an actual essence or actual feel of how compassionate Krishna is. If you see the pure devotees, whether it can be Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, or Srila Prabhupada's devotees, right? All those devotees who are initiating gurus now, if you see them, they're so compassionate, initiating people. It is not an easy thing to initiate. What is the main thing of initiation? That the guru takes all the karma of the person he is initiating. Will any of us want such a thing? At least I am not. I mean, my karma itself is enough. I don't think I can take karma of anybody else. Will anybody, any of you have that, what to say, strength to do that? Compassion. I won't say strength. Will any of us have that compassion to do that?
No, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, but sometimes we feel sorry for our kids, Mataji, like because sometimes we teach them Krishna consciousness and they are not able to take it. So at that helpless condition, sometimes we ask, and then again,
you ask what?
To give their sufferings to us.
Sufferings to us. Sufferings to us. Well, it may not be a very. We may never teach them. Like, this maybe a deviation. It is like this story as a child, I remember. There was a mother who used to carry a child, maybe a year or 2-year-old child. And wherever in the basket, from the basket, he used to pick up the fruit, right? And then the mother was very happy. And then eventually the child thought, okay, this is okay because my mother is very happy. And then he becomes a big thief. And then he goes to the jail. Then the mother comes there to the jail, right? And then he gives, like it said, he was really angry and he literally slaps her, though it should have not done it. Then she says, what is this? I came to see you. You're in the jail. He says, you should have slapped me when I did that. So it at times, when nothing works, like when His Grace Amol Leela Prabhu had come to Bangalore to ICC temple, one Mataji asked this question, what to do? Our children don't listen. He said, "Maar khane do, lat maar khane do. Let them get kicked in the material world. That is the only way they will come to Krishna consciousness." The only thing is, instead of feeling sad, pray for them, intensely pray for them. That will work. By being sad, you're not accepting the situation. Yes, it is sad. I'm not saying no. But then, trying to say we'll take their sufferings. No, each one has to go through this thing. So
Thank you, Mata.
yeah, you can intensely pray for them. Whatever austerities you do, you can give it a part of it to them without being sad or happy. That is the whole crux of it.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, can we pray like that, Mataji? Like whatever
Yes.
bhakti we are doing,
Yes.
and some part of it, can we share that?
Yes. That is the only thing we can desire for. I have asked this question several times to many Maharajas. They said, this is absolutely a spiritual desire. You can have this desire so that they become Krishna conscious. See, probably we are in Krishna conscious. Somebody did for us previous births. That is how we are here. We have finished all that, and then we are in the at least we have kept a step. So we are reciprocating back with some soul that has come as our children, and then we are giving it back to that cycle is being complete. Okay. So anyway, coming back to this, trying to think Krishna as an ordinary person is one of the most offensive thing to do. And then of course, from all the if we continuously reading Bhagvatam and other that chart, I don't know how many of you were there in that Brahma Samhita where we saw that chart. That chart was very beautifully says what is the position of Krishna, how is in the topmost. Anytime we think he's like any ordinary human being. Just see a tree, how many leaves are there? In each leaf, so many cells are there. And then in each cell, Krishna is, if that cell is alive, then the Paramatma is there. Then he is expanded as Paramatma in tree. And then how can Krishna be ordinary? Anything you look around can relate to this magnanimity or the super power of Krishna. Right? So with that, I close today. Done it a little early because first of all I was not too sure whether I would be able to take the class. It was of course Guru's mercy that I was able to take this. So if there's any questions or comments we can take.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. I'm sure there will be many questions. Suma Mataji, you want to ask?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. First of all, sorry for the interruption in between the class, Mataji. Because as and when we get the questions, Mataji, I'm very sorry, Mataji.
No,
like Mataji, in the first shloka which we read today, that he was not able to reciprocate, Lord was not able to reciprocate to the gopis, Mataji. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, like ye yatha mam prapadyante. So how is it, Mataji? How can we take that?
So he, they went beyond all that. He says, I cannot. I mean, like they went beyond all norms. There's nothing that could stop them. Whether it was, taking care of their children, their family, household, nothing could stop them. When Krishna played his flute, absolutely, that Venu, it says somebody is feeding the baby, she just dumps the baby and she goes. Absolutely nothing that could stop them going and meeting Krishna. So he says, I cannot. So he says, I'm indebted to you all. I don't know how to reciprocate this. That is why, because he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand that aspect of serving relationship, aspect rather than being served. There he was being served. What is it is making all these gopis, starting from Srimati Radharani, what is it that is they are relishing? That aspect of serving, right? I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Mataji.
Any other question?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
Krishna.
Mataji, I have read in one of the Upanishads. Supreme
Yes,
Lord
please.
has created entire universe.
Okay.
After creation,
Okay.
he hold a Vajrayuda in his hand.
Okay.
And then only for having his Vajrayuda in hand, all the universal, the demigods and entire nature is working under for only to by fear or by respect. Everything is going on. In one Upanishad I have studied. Is it applicable to this today's this class, Mataji? The last
out of fear and respect, you're saying, right?
Yes,
See, I mean, I'm just trying to share my understanding. There can be other views also to it. See, fear need not mean always negative, right? Now, see, I can be fearful of not being compassionate. That's not negative, right? Out of respect, I can be fearful. Out of respect, I have to follow. Fearful of not performing my duties as expected. We can be fearful. So out of that fear that they have to perform as per Krishna's instructions, they are performing out of respect and fear, right?
Yes.
So it can be understood that way, because we are such conditioned souls. Unless some fear is in us, we don't get to take spirituality so easily. Initially, it is that negative type of fear. If I don't do this, but then eventually it will change to that. Of course,
positive. Hare Krishna, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Okay, shall we end here, Mataji?
Mataji? Yeah.
Shall we end
Yes,
the session?
Mataji. Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do a Vaishnava Pranam and end the session. Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat
Thank you
Pranam.
so much, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
So we'll meet again on Monday, 9:30. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hare